Hi, my name is Alyssa Pengrit, and I'm here to review my program completion timeline. So going back to the beginning of when I first decided to become involved in education and specifically a career in school psychology, that really started in the summer of 2007. And that was after I completed a couple of courses in psychology and did really well with them. And with the encouragement from the professor I had at that time, I decided to switch my major back to psychology, which is where I had started, but then I had switched it several times throughout my early college life, but switched it back to psychology, and really he encouraged me to pursue graduate school. And so in looking into what opportunities and what career made the most sense for me, I felt like school psychology would be a really good match of, pairing up the fact that I just love psychology, I love kids, love working with kids, and just thought that that would be a good career path for me. So fast forward a few years after I'd been accepted, completed graduate school, and was ready for my internship year, so my first year working out in the real world, if you will, as a school psychologist. And I was hired by Blue Valley School District in 2011. And at the time, I worked at two elementary schools, Indian Valley Elementary and Cedar Hills Elementary. That continued like that for the next 3 years. And in August 2014, I continued my tenure at Indian Valley Elementary, but I moved over to the middle school setting for some middle school experience at Pleasant Ridge Middle School. I continued with that for the next 3 years, and in August 2017, I returned to being a full-time elementary level school psychologist. I continued with Indian Valley, my original school, and then I took on Stanley Elementary as my second school. Over the next couple of years is kind of where I started to think about my trajectory as a school psychologist and some other things that I might want to do within school psychology or even beyond school psychology. And so I started to get involved in some different leadership opportunities. And I kind of did that all at once. So in August 2019 is when I started being a member of our building leadership team at Stanley Elementary. I also took on a role as a team member of our CI3T leadership team at Indian Valley Elementary. And what that was that stands for Comprehensive Integrated 3 Tiers of Intervention. It was a research effort by the University of Kansas teaming up with our school district and some other school districts across the country to really develop a comprehensive 3-tiered format of interventions for different schools. And we were one of the pilot schools for that program. And then the other leadership role I took on was being a member of our school psychologist district leadership team. So I continued with that. And in the summer of 2020, again, I began to think about what next steps that I needed to pursue on my end to move further into some of those leadership roles. So it was really in July 2020 where I made the decision to pursue those requirements necessary to be able to work in a special education administration or some other type of district level support position. So I decided that in July, and in August I was enrolled at Fort Hays State University to begin the non-degree endorsement program for the building level leadership licensure. So continuing my career and education timeline, it was really last school year where I did the bulk of my courses. So as you can see, I completed 18 credit hours that year from August through June. So like I said, I made the decision in July. In August, I was enrolled in taking 2 courses simultaneously. It was school law and supervision and evaluation of school personnel. Then in October to December, I took educational finance. And then in that kind of short intersession period from December to January, I took intro to school administration. I then completed special education for school leaders in January through March. From March through May of that school year, I took off till I could focus on kind of the end of the year rush at my own job. And then in June, took school and community relations. So then this school year, I had originally planned to take that last course, the practicum course, in the fall semester. But as it turned out, I ended up being a practicum supervisor myself for a school psychologist. So between that and just my full-time job as a school psychologist, I didn't feel like I was really able to take on my own practicum course at the same time. So I postponed that to the spring semester, and so I am starting and finishing my practicum course this semester. And even though I've been working on the types of activities that would fulfill my e-portfolio really all school year, all last year and even previous to that as well, just in the sense that my current role really does incorporate a lot of kind of administrative and leadership activities naturally. But I've been working on that throughout the last couple of years, but officially we'll start that process and end that process this semester. So I plan to complete my e-portfolio by May of this school year. And then next steps, I will be open to opportunities for administrative or district level support positions for as soon as the next school year, so the 2022-2023 school year. If the right opportunity doesn't come along, then I will just continue to look for the year after that. Thinking beyond that, I have a personal goal to retire before age 60. So what that would mean for me is that 2044-2045 school year would be my last year, and I would be 59 at that point. So between now and then, which is 23 years, as far as what I see that looking like, I can see a variety of positions in probably more than one district. And while I have ideas for that, I am open, again, to kind of what develops and where my interest and experience ultimately leads me. So right now, my interest and experience is definitely in special education, but I do have other things that I can also see myself working in. A couple of those, for example, are things related to multi-tiered systems of support, or RTI, just general student support services, mental health initiatives. I'm really interested in kind of Title I and at-risk student population and what we can do to support students in that regard. So I see lots of different opportunities that could potentially become available, and I think just being open to what that could look like and where that is. And then post-retirement, again, hopefully in the year 2045 and beyond, I see a lot of potential possibilities with that. I could also see myself, kind of retiring from full-time work, but continuing with part-time work on kind of a contracting basis or consultant basis. I could also see myself working entirely outside of the world of education and just doing something different in those years. So I see a lot of possibilities, and I'll definitely develop that more as it gets closer. But right now, my main focus is kind of in the next 1 to 5 years. So that wraps up my career and educational timeline, and thank you so much for listening.